we're live.
We are live.
Hello, America.
Shout out to my sister, Carrie.
Oh, hey, what's up, Carrie? How you doing? Is everything okay?
It's good.
How's life, Carrie? Is she gonna call in?
Probably not.
No? Still love you, Carrie. Is it awkward yet?
Probably.
I can lean in. Hey, Carrie. How you doing? How's life? Yeah,
that is your shout out that you asked for, and it's a lot longer than I anticipated.
Yeah,
but hello to everybody else in the chat. And welcome to Quest for Player 2.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm here to have fun. That's what I'm going to do.
She's in the chat.
Oh, hey! Oh, my God. That's so dope! Now it feels really awkward. We had a moment, though.
Hey, so what's our conversation for today that you came up with? Wait, you should introduce yourself.
Ladies first.
I am LT. And our host.
Not even host. No, we're co-hosts. There's no.
My co-host?
Yeah, there's no. No. It's just we're together.
All right.
Me, am I supposed to introduce myself?
Yeah.
Okay. You may want to lower the mic right now for a second. Yeah! Holla at your boy! It's me, the BSG. That's right, Battlestar Galactica, a.k.a. Colossus of Clout, a.k.a. the purveyor of petty. Let's get down because I'm always ready.
All right. So what are we getting down with today?
Well, today our topic or conversation is opposites attract? Or do
repel.
they? Exactly. Opposites attract or do they repel? Do they last when it's an opposites kind of situation? And if it is an opposites kind of attract situation, what do you do to make sure you can try to make that relationship work?
Okay, so I have a couple questions. So when you came up with this topic, I was like, super interesting. So when we're talking about opposites attracting, are we talking about physicality? Are we talking about financial status? Are we talking about religious education? Like, what are we talking about specifically?
That's the beauty of it. When it comes to it, there are so many aspects of what is opposite.
Yes.
What separates people from, being exactly the same? What's the difference in your mirror? And that's, I think, why this topic is so great. It actually came up, of course, from you guys. You guys suggested it.
Thanks
so
for the
we went
suggestions.
ahead and looked into it and figured out how we can expand it. And it becomes very interesting figuring out there are so many parts, like you said, socioeconomic, religious,
Your
there's
family values.
family values. My God, there are so many things. So with that, it's kind of like, well, with opposites attracting, as people always say it does, is it good? Is it bad? Can it work?
That is a good question. And then just starting off before we even talk about it, what is your initial stance on this? How do you feel about the opposites attracting? Or better yet, tell us, do you have a particular type, personality type, physical type that you're generally attracted to? Does this apply to you?
That's true. It does. Some ways, definitely physically, I do have a kind of preference, but I found myself, as I gotten a little bit older, far more attracted to personalities.
Okay.
And I think with me, that's why it does work out that way, because especially with me, hey, I'm bi. So it's like personalities are more important than physically. But there are things, of course, that I'm like, nope, I'm just not going for. I don't care. I'm sorry if you're mad at me, but I have preferences.
And Keith says, hey, hush up on the side.
Hey, hush up on the side. Okay.
He actually doesn't say that.
Oh, okay.
But there are people.
Whoever's talking, he says, whoever's talking on the side, I can hear you. Oh boy, I think we can hear people.
So your thing is more about personality.
It's for me, but the thing is, but like I said, I have the physical kind of parameters that will give me the ultimate cut.
And producer.
Hey, so I'm wondering, what's the most opposite you've ever been attracted to and gone out with?
That is a good question. Ooh. I would like you to start this one.
Oh, see, I love you do that. I would like you to start that while I make up a story.
Yes.
Let's continue. Now, for me, I guess the most opposite I've ever been with is, okay, a 6 foot tall redhead white girl that was very, very large. That was the most opposite I think I've ever dated. It was actually a good relationship, even though physically she was, and then also socioeconomically, blah, blah, et cetera, education-wise, was a little different. Hey, I went to college, I graduated, I got a BS, blah, blah, blah. She was like, I dropped out of college. She was into a few different things than I was completely. She loved, I can talk about her with this because she knows and she watches. She's watching but hadn't said anything. But she knows who she is. Yeah, she was like a big Disney fan. I was not. I freaking hated Disneyland.
So how long did this relationship last? So this opposites attracting, was it a good positive relationship in your experience?
You know what? I say from every relationship, your goal, if it is like, hey, you end up breaking up, what did you learn? How is that person now a lesson for you? And that's ultimately what I got. I got a lesson out of learning to be like, well, you know what? This is what I do like. This is what I don't like. Learning a few things about like what I can be interested in that I never was. And also where to say no. Hard facts on where to say no, and then creating that list of like understanding what my love language is, understanding what I find important. Through her, I actually created a big list that you'll see actually on in the article that will be out tomorrow concerning this topic of opposites and if they really do attract. You'll find it on that hashtag show.com. You'll find that tomorrow. So head over to it. We'll go into deep detail. I do deep dive and you'll see it there. But yeah.
So mine, there's no, like, physically everyone I've ever dated looks astronomically different from each other.
Wait, so physically, do you have like things that you're like, no fatties, no tall people, no redheads, no, whatever?
No, don't have one. I mean,
what?
I think I dated every different
right
type of person. Personality counts for a lot, but I feel like the person that I dated that was absolutely nothing like me was actually a Japanese native who didn't really speak English, and I don't know why we got along, but we did, and it was an immediate attraction, and it was absolutely insane. It didn't make sense to me, but in hindsight, I'm like, still doesn't make sense to me, actually. But opposites can attract, and that's the thing, and we hear that a lot, but as I'm thinking about it more and more, I don't think it's necessarily opposites, because there's so many different facets that you could focus on of being opposite. I think it's more like finding a complement is the greatest goal in a relationship. And it might seem like opposites, like an eraser and a pencil, but they're on the same little number 2 thing, right? You need both of them to get through life. You need to be able to write, you need to be able to erase some things. And I feel like that's what you're looking for, not necessarily an opposite, but a complement to yourself.
Okay, yeah, so pretty much you're saying it's not a fish and a bird, but still something, I mean...
Not a pigeon and a rat, but a pigeon rat.
A pigeon rat. There you go. You gotta find that mix.
If you watch Power Rangers, you get that reference. If not, that seems really bizarre, but I apologize. But movies and popcorn, or I don't know, night clubbing and peanut butter and chocolate. I was going to say bacon wrap hot dog and clubbing, but same thing.
Oh yeah, well those two have to go together. Bacon wrap hot dog and anything late night that includes alcohol. You need that. Those two just work together. But so finding something that does complement.
Yes.
Okay.
And I feel like that all depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking to date and have fun? Are you looking to get married? Are you looking to have a family? Because this will determine what your opposite that you're attracted to is.
Ooh, God. Okay.
I think.
Right. No.
I'm not a relationship expert, but these are just my opinions.
Well, how did you come to that? Did you have to like experience? Okay, this was bad. This was something that didn't work out, and now I figured out a complementary aspect of this partner, and that's what I'll stick to.
I think so, and I think the more you date, and this sounds horrible, the more you date, the more you're going to find out about yourself. Like you were saying, you learn things about yourself and what you're looking for. But I feel like that first person you ever date, you're going to hold them in such high esteem for so long. And there is a very high possibility that that person is not right for you.
Well, if they were, they'd still be with them. You still be with them. So clearly they're not. But yeah, that's true. The first love is one of the loves that will hurt the most. Yep. It will be one of the most fulfilling, and you will learn as much, if you can, if you're open to, you will learn much more from that relationship than you will any other relationship.
And I think that's true. And I feel like Hollywood gives you this kind of false representation of what love should be and what it should look like. And I think you need to decide for yourself whether that is going to fit your personality or not.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, the way you're putting it down, it just makes sense, like you said, complimentary. It feels like more that there has to be still some level of compatibility. Like, even when there are opposites.
But I feel like, what if you are just looking to move up your social status in life? There are people out there looking for those kind of relationships that's like, I'm dirt poor and I want to find me a rich husband.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, also, yeah, true.
Or wife, or whatever.
Whatever, you know, I mean, yeah, you could be Black China, you know, whatever. So, you're dating somebody and you're looking to move up, you know? Yeah. You said, oh, there's a Kardashian, can't wait. And you
in that case, it doesn't matter. You're just attracted to the opposite who has a lot of money.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I mean, if that's your goal, then yeah. But the thing is, when you're doing that, well, of course, you're not thinking about the other person's, you know, their interests, their worries, what they want, blah, blah, etc. You're looking to move up. But, I mean, even with those, that can be kind of dangerous because you're like, well, so we have to wait for you to die so I can be cool or I can be happy. I have to cheat and duck and hide around. That's a lot of work.
It is. But I feel like a lot of us in the chat, we're not gold diggers like that. We are looking for honest and true love.
True.
So kind of pulling it back, it's like, I don't know. What are your feelings on this? I mean, I kind of talked about it a little bit, and I don't think that opposites necessarily do attract. Like, if you are a religious person and you believe in God, you're not going to date Satanists. That's a little too opposite, in my opinion. You know, like, I don't think that's going to happen. It's very rare that someone who is incredibly rich, like the prince, will fall for a dirt poor Cinderella. Like, it's realistically speaking, like, yes, we want to believe in this and we want to have that, but realistically, does it happen all that often? Not really.
No. But, I mean, like you said, there are those moments, there are those options where, yeah, that can happen. And when it does, what do? Like, if you happen to be the person that successfully got that person, good, congratulations for you. But when you're the person that's on the other end, and they're dating you just for a move up in their status, what happens to you? Like, that's the thing. I mean, I'm always worried about other people, I guess, in so many ways, and how they'll react.
As a gold digger.
Right? Yeah, I see it already. Well, it's like, I'm a gold digger. You're just happy about it. I mean, hey, you know what? If you are, you are. Congratulations to you. It's not my thing because it becomes a big situation.
Hey, it's a cherry on top. If you got the right person and they just happen to be like astronomically rich, then kudos to you.
Hey, no, but there is the other way if you want to look at it. Like, oh, hey, I'm ugly. This person's hot.
That is another thing of opposites. You see kind of a lot of like Beauty and the Beast, and we see that a lot in mainstream TV. Like if you watch The Simpsons, there's this overweight guy that has a hottie Marge, or if you look at Family Guy, it's a trope for a lot of shows that you know you get a hot girl and maybe the not most attractive guy, but for some reason it works out. But I feel like it's the foundations of that. It's not necessarily what you look like, but someone that compliments you, and it has to be more personality than it is physical attraction.
That's the thing, and that's where I still think it has to do with some level of compatibility and incompatibility. Incompatibility itself is ultimately just the condition of two things being so different in nature as to be almost incompatible, and they can't coexist. That's exactly what incompatibility is. Now, when it comes to it and you're thinking about a relationship, you're looking for that level of compatibility, and it may not be physical. It may be, once again, we started off with, they may have tenements. They may have things where it's like, this person speaks my love language, or this person connects with me and they understand how I feel religiously, sociologically, it may be socioeconomical. You know, there are all these other options, once again, that do connect. So that's why I always think when it comes to relationships and opposites, it's probably best that you do have a type of list of needs, not a hierarchy of needs, but like
that's a really
interests.
Good point. But you need to know what you want in a relationship first, and I think that's. Hey, we have a super chat from Shay.
Oh, there we go. What's Shay saying right now? As long as both people enjoy spending time with each other and are honest with each other. Continued. Let me see. Wait, I'm waiting for. Nope,
come on, Shay. Okay. Type it out faster. Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go.
Shay, that's a.
We only have an hour stream.
Yeah. Wow. It's not the
45-minute stream, Shay. Let's go.
Seems like it's not the first time a woman's told you to hurry up. Go ahead, Shay. What else you got? No? Oh, like what is. Okay. Each other, like what is wanted in a relationship. People can be opposites in other aspects of their lives and be happy.
And I think
that's very true.
And what we're kind of talking about is like you need to know what you want when you're going into a relationship. Why are you trying to engage in any relationship? You need to know who you are, and I think that is the hardest thing to figure out.
Oh, the
Next
worst.
thing, The easiest thing is to figure out what you don't want, because you'll find that out super fast.
Oh, yeah,
But finding out what
definitely.
you want, that is going to be one of the hardest things.
Oh, yeah.
And you can only really figure that out if you date a lot, I feel like. What's up, producer?
Hey guys, so I'm wondering, so we're going over opposites and what some things you're not compatible with. What's the most you ever like bent to like accept something? Like they were really into like Disney. Did you go to them to all the movies? If they're into sports, did you go to them to all the games?
That is a good question.
That's actually something that I have written down there concerning just that. Where do you guys work together as far as meeting in some level of harmony? How do you get to that? And you have to compromise.
And I think, again, like it always boils down to communication and what you're willing to kind of give up or compromise in that situation.
Yeah.
One of the best relationships that I had been in was one of those things where it's like, I didn't like I didn't like some of the stuff that he was into, like eating at expensive restaurants. Like, I ain't got money for that.
Oh.
So, you know,
He's paying, right?
no, the thing is, if he had friends and it was his friend's birthday,
he's
it was
still paying.
assumed that he would cover my dinner.
Right.
If it was my friend's birthday and I invited him out, I would pay for him.
That's fine.
And I feel like that's kind of a fair thing where it's like, hey, you want to go to the sports game with me? Hell no, I don't. You're like, I really want you to come. I was like, I will go if you purchase my ticket. Okay. And that'll show how much you want to spend that time or how much interest that you're trying to get me invested into this. And kind of like me, likewise, like if I wanted to go concert and you're not really into the pop music.
Oh, the pop music.
I'm
the kids
old.
Are calling it. The kids are calling it now.
Then I will go ahead and pay for your ticket because I want to share this experience with you. And I know it's something that you're not interested in, but I am willing to invest my time and money to try and get you into this.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know, it doesn't work for everybody.
No, but that's perfect. That creates this level of willingness to see it work, you know? And that's the one thing where it's like, here go the opposites, but then there's so many ways in which you guys are still compatible. And once again, you chose to compromise. And he also chose to compromise. And that's where it shows like, hey, we want this to work. I'm willing to compromise.
And if any time it's like, yo, I still don't want to go to the sports team, even if you do buy my ticket, because I'd rather not.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not interested. And when you respect the other person and say, like, I understand, maybe on a better day, maybe there'll be something that interests you more, or maybe we could start something smaller or do something like that. And I feel like it's all just about communication.
Yeah, very true. Now, with that being the case, is there ever a time where you think to yourself, well, this may be a problem, or can compromise be too much? Can you overcompromise? Can you try to...
I do feel like you can over compromise, which is why you got to value yourself and you got to know what you want.
I mean, I get it. It's true, because like the thing is, when people try to do that, like, oh, okay, hey, it's opposites attract. We're working so hard to make it a thing, and then all you're doing, if you find yourself always taking down from self to compromise.
Have you ever
to
experienced
give.
that? Because I feel like you're a giver. You're a very kind person. I feel like this is coming from a very personal place.
It
What
always
you're talking
is.
about now.
It always is.
If you want to share, this is a safe community, right, guys in the chat?
You guys are cool. You're not gonna tell my ex, right? All right, we're good. We're good, right? Okay, so my last relationship, that was an issue where it was I chose to give and give so much as far as compromise that I realized after a while the me that was me was no longer there. And that was a problem. It was like, okay, I found myself in like what I like to tell all the time. I found myself in R&R. And it's not rest and relaxation, it's regret and resentment.
Ooh.
That's exactly
Not
where
healthy,
I end
not
up.
positive.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it shows itself in the relationship in so many different ways. I break some of it down, and you guys can definitely check it out. You go to thathashtagshow.com. There will be an article up tomorrow concerning this type of topic, so you guys will be able to see it there. But that's exactly like all the things that I kept going through. I'm just falling through in a cycle of giving, and where is my receiving? And after a while, I noticed it.
And see, that isn't one of those cases where opposites may attract, but in a very negative, destructive kind of way in a relationship. One can't always be the giver. This might turn into something else.
No,
One can't always be like...
We're gonna go for it.
One can't always be a receiver. You have to be able to compromise. I didn't know how to phrase that any other way, but we're gonna go
Quote
with
of the
it.
night.
You know
Quote
what
of the night.
It's not a naughty thing in this particular instance.
Oh, quote of the night. I love it because no matter what happens, you're like kind of naughty. It just happens.
It is.
I love
I'm getting hot.
Wow, okay, we are just going for it. Okay, go ahead. No, I'm playing. Go ahead.
No, but that is. So, I mean, we want to say opposites do attract, but you want to look for ways that complement either your kind of maybe failings or your not strengths, and someone that could step up and be there for you and support you and to encourage you in a positive, healthy way. When it gets destructive, like in your relationship, or say like if something is like drugs are involved, or if like, you know,
that's
certain
true.
things,
Yeah,
it's not good. Like opposites don't attract, or they do attract, but not a good way.
Exactly, and it's the thing where it's almost like the best way to say it, an idiom I've heard before is like you go into this relationship wearing a mask. And then, because now you've become this thing that you're not. So now this person says, I've dedicated or I'm in love with this mask. That's all they know. One day, you're going to take off that mask and they'll be like, oh my God, what is that? Like, oh, and you're like, oh, this hurts me. But it's like, yeah, because you were never who you were. They don't know that.
Yeah, and we have Stephanie Storm who says compromise is good, but if it's against your values or you realize like you're the only one compromising, then it's time to say no. And I definitely agree with you on that one.
I definitely do agree with that. I mean, it's true in every step, and exactly what we're driving home here. It's that, well, even if you choose to compromise, be careful with what you choose to compromise with. If you choose to take down from yourself, you're going to be left with nothing. And it's going to, like I said, resentment, it's regret, and it's just, it's being inauthentic. And there's no reason to not be you in a relationship that involves only one person and you. It makes no sense.
It is true. And kind of, I don't know, it's kind of one of those hard things too, where the attraction kind of lies in the values that you're looking for. And I feel like that's kind of important too, where it's like, hey, I may not be, like for me, I love traveling. I am not a world traveler. I haven't had a whole lot of experience. But for someone who might be a globetrotter, that is incredibly attractive to me, even though maybe we're not opposites, but it's in the direction that I want to go. Or it's something that I value and respect. So I feel like the whole kind of going back to opposites, it's a fine line that you got to play.
It is. I'm sorry. I'm looking at so many, like, the chat is buzzing right now. And I'm like, guys, you guys are moving so quick. If you need us to be able to speak about something and you really want us to, it's okay to use that super chat. It will highlight exactly what you're saying.
Just
and
like
we'll be able to see it. Exactly. We'll be able to see it and it will go right to it immediately. So try that out if you can. But this chat is going quick. It's going fast. I'm seeing something right now. And I don't know, like... If I want to go into it, because that's a deep one.
Talking about maybe like not just destructive but abusive relationships, I feel like that's a chat for another day.
That's a chat for another day, probably even another episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it can go through a lot. Red Blue Blur says, now that's just, excruciating, like physiological damage, psychological, I'm sorry. He says, I'm sorry. Psychological damage, and the person isn't ready or able to leave those. Well, that's still, once again, the abusive relationship thing. That's probably a talk for another time.
But that might be a compatibility thing, too, where they might be too similar and they have the same kind of weaknesses where they won't be able to say no. They won't be able to say, like, it's time to stop. And that might be too much of a similar negative quality that both people share. And that's not great either. You don't want something, I don't know, like, okay, whiskey, there's a lot of people that chase it with pickle juice, and it seems like a really weird combination, but let me tell you, it's actually pretty good. Yeah. So you just never know, like, what types of things might actually be compatible with you, I think, until you try it. And that's one of the hardest things, where this conversation is hard, because you gotta go through a lot of fire to find out.
It's true, you do.
You gotta be like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Well, no, it's like they say, but this is the thing, and that's why I said, like we said at the beginning, when it comes to relationships, sometimes when you're moving into a new one, kind of consider exactly, what you've learned from the previous. You know, like sometimes, like people say, you got to kiss a lot of frogs, etc., etc.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get lucky, but I feel like in the majority of cases, your first love usually isn't.
Your first love usually isn't your last. That's why they love to use the phrase first love. So yeah, you're going to learn from that. And like we said, it's usually one of the strongest ones to learn from. But you have to work to try to find, once again, those areas that make you compatible, those areas that are complements to you. Without them, it's hard to really establish a real relationship. and it's something that's some people would say almost impossible. In my opinion, I mean that's
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too. And then also kind of thinking about it, if you find yourself constantly attracted to people with maybe negative qualities, you might need to do a little soul searching of yourself and find out why you like that.
Oh my god.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh no, that's true. It's true, because if you keep like I you know, like you're this person that's pretty good and on the up and up, everything's great, and you're like, I love a bad boy. Like, you know, you're that girl that's like, if he has less than 10 tattoos and has you know, a rap sheet that's only this long, he's not my guy. You know, I need him to be like this. Blah blah blah. You may have a problem. It may be something that you're kind of noticing or connecting to an archetype that has been influential within your past, and now you're connecting to that, and now because of that, you want to go ahead and chase that. That could be why. I don't know. There's plenty of reasons. You need to talk to somebody about that. But if you keep finding yourself dating the wrong people for you that are very bad for you, you need to look into you first, because it's not healthy. It's not good.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, man, Blackwing is trying to call in, but we got no audio or visual.
Oh, we're having a little bit of a problem with the front of the phone call with you, Blackwing. But everyone else
Keep trying to call in. We will try to get that up so we can answer some of your questions.
Exactly.
And if any of you guys have any other questions, put them in the chat. We might talk about them.
Yeah, maybe, you know, if you guys.
And if they're too deep, maybe we'll just save it for a topic for another episode.
Exactly. You know, we always like to know exactly what else we can do, and you can always hit us up on THS hashtaggers and say, hey, I've got a good topic for Quest for Player 2. We pay attention to any time you guys mention it, because we are looking for more topics and trying to help and service you as a fan. So let us know exactly what we should talk about. Right now, oh, okay. Well, this is weird. Toku and JD are having like an amazing conversation, and Toku's asking JD, are you attracted to bad boys? I don't know if that helps at all, but are you attracted to bad boys?
It depends how bad they are, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know. Like, I don't want someone that's been to prison. Like, I don't want someone that, like, does sell drugs.
What if, you know, he's changed his life? Oh, hey, I used to sell drugs and, like, murder people. I don't do that anymore.
No,
you know, like, it could be something different.
I think murder, no matter how nice you've become, that's a deal breaker for me. Like, if you've done murdered someone,
if
like,
society lets them go, what do you... Society's letting them go. Like, you're in jail for this long. You know, you're still no.
It depends. Like, if you're in jail for, like, having drugs, that's fine to me. But if you're in jail for murdering somebody, especially if you murdered your ex-girlfriend, then that is a hard pass.
Does it depend? Does it depend on the drugs? I mean, you know, like that whole thing, like when you're on Airbnb and they're like, no hard drugs, and you're like, but what are hard drugs? So, I mean, do you have that kind of distinction?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, weed is fine, meth, no. Like, is there
kind of. I mean, everyone has their own little give and take scale, and we're talking about like compromise and being more complimentary. So for, yeah, you know, like a little bit of a bad, like, I like to drink and I like to drive fast, but I don't like to murder my ex-girlfriends. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Application accepted in that case.
All right. And for yourself, like, well, actually, Stephanie does say she does like, she like guys that look like, you know, bad guys, but are actually teddy bears.
Oh man, that just reminds me of JD, because he looks like a big guy with a beard, but
he looks like he's a biker and he's
yeah. But
you know who else? First time, I'll say, no joke, producer Josh Golden. First time I met him, dude, head shaved, bald. He's got like a little bit of a beard. He's got gauges, and you know, and all this blah. He just looks like he's a badass. You know, a badass. That's what he is. And no, not at all.
Yeah.
Teddy bear guy is so nice, so polite, and you know, well mannered. I was thinking like, this guy is dangerous. He has nipple piercings, guys.
He does.
I just told you something very personal about him. Congratulations. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever. Boom! I just told you something about him. You guys learned something new today.
I mean, I think I talked about it before. Because that was one of those shocking things. I was like, what? But see, like, if you're like a wholesome person and you're attracted to Josh, it may look like, opposites attract, but really might have the same moral values.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Like,
so
have fun.
yeah. So I can, look at me. I can date Rihanna. Like it's one of those things. Like because she's a bad, it's a badass, but she's not. She's very,
I don't know a lot of pop culture stuff, considering we're on a show all about pop culture knowledge, but I will take your word for it because you seem very informed on this
That's
topic.
right. I am. I just want to date Rihanna. That's all that whole sentence was about. But so I wonder what is the farthest for you as far as an opposite you will go. Like,
it's
will
hard
you date a polar opposite?
Because you need to find. It depends what we're opposites in.
Mm-hmm.
If it's my kind of like ethics, family values, or morals, and it is an opposite, then absolutely not. I don't think I can compromise on certain things. But if it was like a physical attribute, like I don't really have something I'm attracted to, but I feel like that's something you can easily overcome if you're won over by like a personality.
So then, what's your line? I want to know what's your like. Oh, this is so opposite. It's polar opposite. I can't.
Yeah, if you're a murderer, can't.
Well, that's like an easy one. I want something like,
if you
he's got one leg, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know.
Like, physical really doesn't affect me.
Okay,
I feel like one of those things, like, education is incredibly important to me. Like, you don't have to have gone to college. You don't have to be, like, schooled and educated, but you need to be intelligent. You need to want to read. You need to keep up with the news. It has to be something that we can have a conversation other than just, how was your day? What's the weather like? You want Game of Thrones? Like, I want to have deeper, more intellectual conversations. I feel like that's important to me. I also feel like if you're close with your family and you have a good relationship, shows that you can kind of work it out with the people that were closest to you. Like even if you're not close to your parents, if you have like siblings or cousin or grandmother or like a neighbor that you have, you need to have other relationships with people. So I know that you're not a psychopath. So know that you have the social skills to be with somebody else. Like if you came up to me and was like, I ain't got no friends, I'd be like, oh, that's a red flag. Like I'm not a big social person, but that's a big part of my life. What about you? Do you have any things that are so polar opposite that you cannot be attracted to them?
I guess once again, because I've now like covered the gamut when it comes to, that's right, GAMIT, not GAMB. Gamut.
Not flicking cards on fire.
Yeah, I'm not flicking cards on fire. No, but I've covered the gamut of when it comes to like physical kind of attributes or of what I'm interested in and what I'm not interested in, and as far as me having kind of a cutoff, I'm pretty open, but I think it does have to do with like other things. Like, okay, hey, this person may be, I'm on a date and you are rude to a server, like just completely rude for no reason.
Deal breaker.
Oh my God! I just may have sex with you, but then never date you again. But no, what I'm saying is, no. But honestly, I would. Treat me mean. No, I would not be okay with that. I would be like, nah, forget it. We're done. That's something that's like, nah. If you can't be a nice person when there's no reason not to be a nice person, well then we got a problem. I mean, come on. You're not cutting a wrestling promo every day, So I don't need you to be that person all the time. And it's like, so if you are, then it's like, nah, we're good. I'm past. So I think that's one of my like big deal breakers. That's my kind of cuts. It would be great if I shared like political outlooks or whatever.
And we have
like
Stephanie
that.
who's talking about opposite political views.
Boom!
That is the thing that leads to controversy, not even just in relationships, but in families, in friends. That's what
Facebook is for.
There are some
just so you can fight with people.
Push your buttons, and you need to figure out what those are. And if political views, like if you have strong political views, if someone has the opposite political views, that might be something that will be difficult to work past.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would not be able to be okay with that at all. Like if it happens to be that way, and it's like, yeah, we're having these big political. It's like, yeah, what are we gonna do?
And we got producer. What's up?
Hi. Apologies to the viewers. We are getting a video for your chats. Unfortunately, we are having technical difficulties for the audio. We are working on it, but we may not get it for this one. I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
And if you have questions on this topic next week, you just call in.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, call in. We'll still go back.
minutes.
We'll go back to it. Doesn't matter. Try to hit us still in the chat. We may still be able to get to you. We are paying attention to exactly what you do say. But like Stephanie did say, when it comes to the political kind of standards, I find that political and religious, those two are like sometimes for a lot of people huge.
They are
huge.
I feel like it's almost easier to work through religious differences than it is political, because I feel like the constituents of most religions are to be kind to one another, to accept one another, to love. And I mean, there's always going to be some kind of differences or hurdles to overcome of like specific details of religion. But like most of them tend to be very positive. You want the same kind of, you know, like moral and ethical beliefs. But the thing is where that gets really dangerous is how if you want to have a family and how you're going to raise your kids, never pit your kids against one belief or the other. That is something that you will need to talk about once you get into there. But I can see how that may cause a lot of conflict as well.
That's true. I mean, it definitely will. But I would suggest if those two are like important to you, if those are like, oh, those are tenements of a relationship, have the conversation first, because then it's like, oh yeah, you know, oh, we're opposite, and that turns me on. This is great, and we have so many other things in common. Then finally, you have that conversation. And, you know, she's like, yeah, you know, I think we should, eat the rich or whatever. And you're like, well, what the hell? You know, I have money. You know, you don't want that.
Well, so kind of to wrap it up, I kind of almost feel like opposites don't attract. You want someone that aligns with at least your same moral, family, personal values. Maybe like very similar religious outlook. Like if you're extremely religious, you probably want someone that's religious as well. If you are not religious at all, it might be hard to date someone who, you know, is active in the church and does all of these things. If it's a positive thing where you're like, hey, I'm willing to compromise on this, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to engage, and I'm willing to hear you out, I feel like it could work. But that's where great communication comes in.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you should blow all of these topics on a first date of like, what are your political views? What are your religious views? Hey, how many kids do you want? How are we going to raise them? That might be too intense.
I'm going to go to the restroom and I take my phone and everything else. Yeah, you're gone after that.
But in conversations, like even casual conversations of like, what TV shows do you like? Oh, Game of Thrones, you like that? Do you like murdering people? You know, like, well, maybe not that overt, but just talking about, like, why do you like shows like that? Do you like seeing them come together? And, like, you could start to find out these little things to see if opposites do attract. Like, hey, I don't really like that show, but because you're talking about it and it has these kind of themes, I might be interested. So you could kind of
navigate,
with the opposites and, you know, similars and everything. We have Toku Kid.
Oh my God, out of nowhere. Super chat from Toku Kid, and says, what about dating people super similar to yourself? As far as what people say, the mirror effect when it comes to dating.
I feel like you might have a better long-term relationship, but also I feel like you always want someone to push you to be a better person, to push you to do better, and that person in return probably wants you to push them to be a better person too. So you don't want exactly the same. That's a little weird, a little creepy.
I mean, yeah, that's why biologically it's you know, it's not a thing. You can't, you know, hey, brother dating sister. It's illegal also. So it doesn't
happens,
make sense.
But
yeah, true. The South does exist. But once
that's
again,
not everyone in the South does that. Let me clarify. That is probably
the views of Daniel Jerome are not necessarily the views of that hashtag show, and do not line up with anything that the hashtag show does actually stand for. Daniel is a rogue and on his own. Please do not follow or listen to all of his advice. There you go. You're welcome. I said that.
We have Blackwing that says that religion, a lot of people aren't willing to compromise, and I think that's fine. And if that's something that's super important to you, it's good that you know that, and it's good that you tell the other person. It makes dating a lot easier. To know yourself will help you understand what you're looking for in a partner.
Yeah, if you know you'll be able to go ahead and know someone else.
Yeah, I don't know if we cleared this up of opposites attract or not. We kind of just rambled on this topic, but I feel like we had some good discussions.
We had some great discussions. We had some great topics that were brought up. We had inquiries that were really good and spot on. So with that, I think we have actually wrapped up most of it, or all of it. We will have an article up tomorrow on that #show.com where you'll be able to just go ahead and read up a little bit more concerning opposites and if they attract. Now, remember where we are going to be as far as this. Is it this Sunday?
It is this Sunday.
This Sunday,
March
3rd. That's right. From 6 to 10, we're going to be at Scum and Villainy. What we're trying to do is bring together two of the most popular, powerful franchises, which is Star Wars and Power Rangers. So Joe will be there, and he'll be interviewing a few Power Rangers.
Actually, a lot of us, I think, will be there.
Yeah,
it is a fun event.
Yeah.
Can other people come?
Yeah,
Everyone
definitely.
can come. So if you're in the Hollywood area, there is this amazing place called Scum and Villainy Cantina. 21 and over.
It's going to be a 21 and over event, so that
adults
means
only because there will be adult beverages there, and I'm pretty sure some crazy stuff always happens at Star Wars Fanatics, so you definitely want to be an adult.
That's right, and if you are from Star Wars Fanatics, make sure when you are there, you buy Ro a drink. In fact, buy him as many as possible.
Yes.
We want to make sure that Ro has a great time. And we know that he has great times when he has alcohol. So give him a lot.
Also, we're going to try to make him cry because he's
we'll do that. We'll do that.
So
we'll
it will be our goal to get Ro.
We'll like flash pictures of Jess out of nowhere. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. We're going to make him cry.
You shouldn't have revealed your weaknesses.
Yes! So we will get him drunk, and we'll see if we can make him cry. We'll see if we can make Joe the emotionless robot also cry. Because you didn't see that. That was like a big thing now everyone was talking about. When Jess started to cry, Joe just sat there.
But
it didn't do anything.
Watch last week's. We have to watch last week's. Maybe we'll get a little glimpse of that. But if not, just come down to Scum and Villainy. We'll see. We could have conversations about opposites attract. More in depth.
We'll talk about everything there, but definitely if you are a Power Rangers fan, it's the place to be. And if you are a Star Wars fanatic, it is definitely the place to be. So that's going to be tomorrow. Sunday, March 3rd from 6 to 10 at Scum and Villainy. So with that, we want to say thank you guys. Yep. I'm Daniel, and of course
I'm Elle.
That's right. And we'll be here next week, same time, which is our new time, 8 p.m.
Because I go to bed early, but...
That's perfect. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Just keep up to date with everything trending.
In geek pop culture.
Good night, guys.
Bye.